everybody in this world is going to do. You ever heard the joke your parents may say sometimes, something about death and taxes are the only two things that you can't escape in life? Everybody has to do. So that might be something that would be interesting. Right about death. What about just the old age? What did y'all think about the character of Granny Weatherall? Was it sad to you just to see her? You know,
I know she was kind of.
It can be kind of humorous. That way, do either of you have any grandparents or anything that you might be experiencing, going through anything like that? Young grandma. Really? Well, I tell you, my grandfather, and even as a young grandmother, my grandfather is 92 years old. And I was talking to Ms. Bright yesterday about the fact that when I first read this story, I was in the 9th grade. And at that time, it didn't really mean anything to me. I mean, I remember the stream of consciousness thing. It was something important that the teacher was pointing out that this author had done. It was new. But as far as the meaning of the story, it didn't really affect me or anything. It's kind of weird. I didn't get it. But since that time when I went back and read it last week, because of having to teach it to y'all, it really means a lot to me just because of the experiences that I've gone through. The year after I read the story, my grandmother died, and that was the first person that I ever really experienced dying in my life. And then since that, my other grandfather is 92 years old, and he is just completely senile. He doesn't have Alzheimer's, the doctors say, but it's basically the same symptoms. If you've watched any TV shows or read articles about Alzheimer's, as far as he doesn't know who we are. He thinks I'm his wife sometimes, or that my mother is his wife, or that we're his mother. He'll think he's a child again. Sometimes he stays with us a couple of weeks out of the month, or with my uncle a couple of weeks. And as far as capturing this on paper, that's what's so amazing to me about Catherine Porter, is that she really did get such a good grasp. It makes you feel like she must have had somebody around that she watched throughout that experience, as far as the kinds of connections that that person makes and the confusion that they would have, and being confused about being young and who are people. And it's like, well, it's really weird because a lot of times they say this is something that's typical of Alzheimer's patients, is that their short-term memory is very completely shot. They can't remember, like, for instance, when he's staying at our house, we can show him where the restroom is, and 5 minutes later, he could not tell you how to get to it. He'll come sit back down in the den, and he'll say, where's the bathroom, or where's my bedroom? You have to show him stuff, but his long-term memory is very intact. That's what's so strange about it. I mean, he could tell you, you could show him an old black and white picture, and he'd say, yes, that's my cousin so-and-so from so-and-so, Georgia, and she grew up here, and tell you the whole story of her life, or look at old pictures of him. And so he remembers growing up, and so he grew up on a farm in Harlem, Georgia, and so he remembers just being a young boy. And so it seems like now that his old memories are what's the foremost in his mind. And so when he's thinking about his mother and stuff, he tends to think that maybe I'm his mother, or call me his mother's name. And my mother, of course, you can imagine, looks like my grandmother to an extent, like his wife, and they have some of the same mannerisms, and they talk a lot the same. So a lot of times he'll mistake my mother for his wife.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember my talking about my grandmother, the same kind of thing I was telling you. Remember when I told you I had to go home to Chicago because she was dying, and that my grandmother was always a friendly person, so she would talk to anybody. And after I'd been sitting on the bed talking to her for like 2 hours,